Live to live night news. If you're a lot like me, then you might not like you. Welcome to another episode of Hours of Clarity podcast. Today I have a good friend of mine, a colleague, co-worker, and somebody that I admire in recovery. I look up to him. He's a nice gentleman and a role model to many, an inspiration to many as well. If you want to introduce yourself, we'll carry forward.
My name is Sean Horswell, and I am an alcoholic in recovery.
And there you go, right? Hi, Sean. So today we're going to touch base on, we jumped from communication. What's the topic today?
Haven't heard yet.
It starts at 10 o'clock. So we were just on communication. Another one that I find to be interesting is discipline. When we talk about discipline, and then the definition of discipline is like willingness to participate with patience and exercise that in a formidable fashion, right? So to be able to accept something like by abiding to do something that somebody else says regardless of the outcome, right? So it's like for me to be able to listen to you when you give me advice and vice versa, right? And I think that's part of the foundation of our program at Brentwood, right? So I myself am a Brentwood alumni, and Sean here as well. We've talked a lot over the past few years, and I've gotten to know you fairly well, in my opinion. And yeah, like I said, I admire your growth and your path so far since I've met you in recovery. But I want to get to know the Sean that had to ask for recovery. I want to know today a little bit about how you were brought up, maybe how you found alcohol, drugs, etc., etc. So,
well, for me, as a child, drugs and alcohol were always around. I grew up in a single mom environment. My dad and mom split up. I was at a pretty young age. He had his own path that involved substances, and so I had it pretty young. My mom was a loving woman. She loved us, but she had her struggles, and which I had learned.
So were you raised by both parents?
Just my mom.
Just your mom, okay.
Yeah. So we grew up in government housing, and so I recognized early that something wasn't normal, and what I had in my own mind as a young boy was I saw these images on TV.
Right, or what you thought it should be like.
Yeah.
Right.
It was the Leave It to Beavers. It was those kinds of things, and so I recognized that something was wrong.
Yeah, Brady Bunch type of stuff.
Yeah, and it just wasn't like that.
Yeah.
The judgment from friends, because I'd always wanted to go to a better school, so I would go out of district from our school.
Right.
From a young age, I always wanted to do better. I tried to get involved in sports and stayed involved in sports, and that worked for me as a child until it didn't anymore.
Right.
And then.
So, pardon me. Was your mom in active addiction?
She was. I don't think she really understood it. My mom was 18 years older than I was.
Right.
She was a young mom.
Right.
And we were close. Our kids were her life. But she liked attention and all of that, and she was a good-looking lady, and so our house became sort of the social place, on weekends.
People are drinking, and things would happen.
Yeah, that was a weekend thing, really, growing up. She worked at the hospital, and worked there for a long time.
Yeah.
And
she provided, but there were some missteps.
Oh yeah. It was like I said, it was Ontario housing. It was the struggle to put food on the table.
Right.
It was but she had her insecurities and her challenges with her relationships too, which I had to witness. With physical abuse and things like that.
So she had her own trauma, her own things.
So, and I became pretty wise and street smart at a young age.
Yeah. How to get your own, how to live, how to survive.
Absolutely, and recognize when something wasn't wasn't going well. And,
Right.
And I could see the pain in my mom. We were just connected that way.
Yeah.
I have a sister,
Yeah.
and she had her struggles as well.
Are you the oldest?
I'm the oldest.
Okay.
Yeah. My sister did fairly well. Emotionally, she didn't do very well. But she's, now she's a nurse that flies in and out of reservations up in northern Ontario, and really does a great job there.
Helping communities.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. But my mother took her life at the age when I was 20 years old.
I'm sorry to hear that.
And that was profound. That was something I had a really hard time from that point on. I had family that was supportive.
Must have been a shock to everybody.
It was, yeah, because my mother was the life of the party type, and
Right.
and
So she was only 38 when she passed.
yeah, 39.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and it was funny. Growing up, she had always said that she couldn't see herself older than 40,
Wow.
which kind of was sort of
A weird.
cryptic.
Yeah.
Thing that but as it turned out, I was able to. From there, I guess I didn't know it at the time, but then I developed, abandonment issues.
Right.
I had a hard time understanding why my mom chose death, I guess, because it was a violent way.
Okay. Do you mind me asking?
Yeah, she had jumped off of her 11th floor balcony.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and
That's hard.
Yeah, it was hard. She called me that evening at 8 p.m. I'm a young guy. I had a girlfriend at the time. I was out with her, and she had asked me to come over. I said, "Well, I can't tonight, Mom, but I'll definitely be there in the morning."
Yep.
And then when in which I held my word, I was there first thing in the morning, and coming up the elevator in the building, somebody had said that there was a murder or a suicide on my floor. And then I said, "Whoa!" As the door opened on my mother's 11th floor, I said, "What apartment was it?" And the person pointed on to my mom's apartment. Anxieties got up. I thought, "Nah, can't be," Knocked on the door, no answer. I went down to the management office to ask about it. And they asked me who I was, which was weird. And there were two detectives waiting for me to tell me what had happened.
Wow.
So from there, it was dealing with abandonment issues, and then I kind of always had girlfriends that were probably needy, or not the healthiest type relationships.
Well, and as men, quick question, were you drinking or using already prior to your mother's death?
I picked up marijuana at about the age of 17.
Right, okay.
And so that was really all it was, other than if my friends and I, when we would have go to the bar or the club on weekends.
Right. Typical growing up things.
Yeah. Thursday night at the bar where everybody gets together.
Right.
But nothing major.
What did you find afterwards? With addiction, did you find it started to pick up more?
No, actually, you know what? I was never really a big drinker.
Okay.
The heavy drinking, the marijuana persisted.
Yeah.
That was my escape at the time, and I actually despised alcohol because
of the upbringing.
Yeah, because I was waking up.
It's weird you say that.
Yeah.
My father drank my entire life. He still does to this day. And when I smell that, when people wake up and it smells like a brewery, or it has that fermented weird alcohol smell. I was never much of a drinker myself.
Yeah.
And then anytime I did drink, it only led to other decisions that were poor, right? I'd end up doing narcotics or, mostly cocaine, but that's the type of thing for me. It wasn't the drinking.
Yeah.
It was that was more of a gateway for me to loosen up or feel better.
Yeah.
And be social or whatever, right?
Yeah. So that was the marijuana thing persisted. That was the regular thing. But we were introduced to cocaine at 10 years old from my father, who had moved to Vancouver.
Okay.
And he doesn't remember this now, today he's still alive, and he's 26 years clean and sober.
Oh, good for him.
And
round of applause.
Yeah, he actually really helped pull me through my battles today.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
But we were introduced there. I didn't choose it, but then it became once in a blue moon if somebody, you know,
Had
put
it.
some lines or something on the table,
Yep.
and then I would try it, and especially if you know, if the attention from women was there.
Right, 100%.
And all that kind of stuff.
That's what I was going to say when at least when you're talking about a bit of a toxic or whatever, you know, vulnerable relationships. It's like those are the angles that we play through addiction as men.
Yeah.
Right. It's like you find something that somebody needs, you fit the profile,
Yeah.
and that's how most of my relationships went for the most part. Like you can develop like loving feelings through that,
Yeah.
learn to care for each other, but to say that there wasn't an ulterior motive at the beginning of any relationship that I was in before recovery would be a lie, right? I felt that a lot, even friendships, if they had something I wanted or needed for the time being, you were my buddy,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, and it was for me acceptance.
Yeah.
Like
Fitting in.
just to fit in.
Yeah, I had the same things. Yeah.
You know, because I always thought something must be wrong with us or me. And so you know, and that through high school, and I was the class clown.
Right.
You know, I was had to be funny,
Yeah.
to be interesting. You know, I felt.
And most of that you find is uncomfortable, like being awkwardly in a place of 1,000 people and still feeling alone, or
Yeah.
you know, the desperate need to be wanted.
Yeah.
You know, and I found that was my mother wasn't around. My dad raised me, right?
Yeah.
So it really doesn't matter which parent or this or that, but not having the full complexity of love or a caring home or a nurturing home
Yeah.
brought that to my want and need for attention or acceptance or fitting in or having some sort of success socially, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I, you know, growing up, I have got a lot of attention from women, and
Yeah.
so that really validated my shortcomings. You know,
Yeah.
the things that were wrong with me. It made me. It was a superpower.
Oh, that rocket ships the pride, the ego,
Yeah.
the self-centeredness,
Yeah.
all that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I made it through my 20s somehow, and I don't know how. It was just survival. Had been through, you know, dozens of jobs after my mom passed away.
Right.
I had just, you know, but I kept going. You know, I
Yeah.
didn't give up. I didn't really dive into my addiction until much later in life. My son, I had a son when I was 32 years old.
Okay.
He's the love of my life today.
Yeah. I think I met him at baseball.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he's on our team, and which is our first team to be able to play together. He's 23 now.
Yeah.
And you know, and watching him grow up, but from a distance, so that I can be ready for him now, in his challenges and in life. But I tried to give him the best life possible, and I didn't want him to grow up like I did.
Right.
This is where the people pleaser really kicked in, because and the inability to give and receive love, as
Yeah.
you know, as we realize when we're here at Brentwood.
Right.
It is, I loved him in the wrong way, even though my heart bled for him my entire life.
Right.
And from the second he was born, and I
Give me an
was-
example.
You know, where, once he was born, I really dove into my career.
Yep.
I had some opportunities and people that believed in me that I could do well.
Right.
And so I went with it, and for me to keep people in my life, I had to keep doing more for them, you know, and not disappoint them, and that was a really big thing. For my son, it was about having the best hockey equipment, letting him play the leagues that I didn't get to play in.
Right. Right.
You know, and
The best
all
shoes,
that.
good clothes.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
good clothes, all that kind of stuff. And he grew up thinking he's a rich kid.
Yeah. Meanwhile, you're just busting your hump.
Yeah, but you know, and I, you know, it was just I was trying to get my own life back as
Right.
a child.
Right, right.
And that was just unfair to him.
Living it vicariously through him.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it was through my philosophy of life paper that I wrote, or dissertation to get my CAC2,
Yeah.
right? I realized that only then, sitting in the duty office here in the middle of the night, writing it out, which was easy, but reading it, I saw my life and where patterns started when I was a young child, you know?
Right.
And which I would never have been able to do if it wasn't for, you know, my group leaders and the fellowship and all these things around here. It's become my life now.
I find that I do the same thing a little bit with my daughters. Like if they ask for something, because they're so far away, I was absent as a father throughout their younger years. Financially, if I can do it, it's always a yes, right? And then I think about afterwards, like, what am I really teaching the value of, right?
Yeah.
Like, because I don't have the presence of mind to be right there. So in comparison, totally different circumstances.
Yeah.
But the feeling is the same, right? Like, am I really allowing them to feel humility, earning the value of $1, or, you know, accepting that there's respect in that dollar instead of just receiving something and then moving forward with their life? Like, maybe am I teaching them the wrong things?
Yeah.
Right? I have these thoughts all the time, right?
Yeah.
And I wish that, you know, things were different in a way.
Yeah.
But it's good that you have that insight, and you and your son have a bond today.
He's the closest thing to me in the world, and
Right.
and I know that he loves me very much. In
Right.
fact, just a couple of months ago, he said, "Dad, you know, you've always been a really great dad to me, and we've always been really close." And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "But I wonder, for the man you are today, how different my life would be if this was
You back then.
10 years ago." So,
Right,
you
right.
know, and that was sort of a bittersweet thing to hear,
yeah.
because the guilt and the emotions.
Yeah, it comes with the memory.
Right, and then the honor of him recognizing the hard work and
Right.
and the feelings that I have today
Yeah.
about myself, and I think I am doing things the right way.
So well, today, yes, so we'll say
Yeah.
that. Let's backtrack a little bit. And how old was he when you started spiraling, in a sense?
So he was probably about 17.
Okay.
And
So your addiction was later into your 40s.
yeah, it happened. It was kind of like a midlife crisis,
Yeah.
a point where I just didn't feel needed or wanted by anybody in the world.
Yeah.
And I can go into that. There were some situations there where, you know, the company that I'd worked for a long time, my business mentor, he was retiring, the company was selling. My son, I had managed to get to university to play football there.
Okay.
He was quite an athlete, my son, and so he didn't need that anymore. And so all of a sudden now, I'm finding myself a little more alone.
Yeah.
My wife's career was taking off, my ex-wife, and I started to see cracks in our marriage. And you know, I'm a guy that I can't ask for help. I can't ask for anything.
Yeah, trying to be a man about it.
Right, and it's just like I don't want to be judged as as somebody that's weak or
Yeah, if they find out who I actually am,
yeah,
right, or how I actually feel, and that I'm not really confident and I'm not able to finish out the task of whatever you're going through.
that's right.
Yeah, like a chink in the armor, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the scary part of actually being able to accept somebody else into your life, is what we're learning here through program in rehab at Brentwood, right?
Yeah.
Like being able to have that guidance in a sense, and
Yeah.
trust in the outcome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was able to develop a really successful career, where I did very well. You know, I ended up leading a large company that was successful, but it didn't fill the holes, the money, the success,
Yeah.
the successful wife, and all that. You know, I found it kind of fell apart on me real quick. Something was missing, and then my wife had come to me, and I was becoming physically dependent on alcohol
Right.
as well. So I needed to keep drinking just to feel normal.
Just to wake up in the day.
Yeah, and then the hiding the alcohol and everything.
And that's the later in your
Yeah.
marriage, right?
Yeah, and so I was ending up in the hospital every once in a while.
That's scary.
To detox, you know.
Yeah.
And it was that bad, and so I had tried a private recovery home.
Yeah.
And
Where was this?
this was it was called Another Road. It's in north of Toronto.
Okay.
It was a private facility that for me didn't make the connection with me.
Right.
It was more luxury living.
Taking a break from.
It was.
Yeah.
It was just a 28-day reset, really, that I had no business in because I was in too deep at that
Right.
point. I came out, relapsed.
Yeah. How long?
Right away, almost.
Right away.
You know, I think when my wife had picked me up from there, she wanted to. We were going to take a couple of days and go away, and I think I you know.
Mess that up.
Yeah, I think I already had a bottle in the truck waiting for me, you know, when we went away. And
Yeah.
so it was, there was no will there on my part at that point,
Right.
you know. And then I tried detox a couple times, and then I got on. I heard about Brentwood.
Right.
And I had a
How did you hear about Brentwood?
So I was in detox in Brampton.
Okay.
And I was there for a couple of weeks, and the navigators there, they help you try to get into a
Multitude, yeah.
residential treatment.
Yeah, and they have a list of them.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I did get another one in Aurelia, offer me a spot, but something on that page I wondered about Brentwood, because it was something just in looking at it at Windsor, you know,
Yeah.
that's far, but it feels like the right thing.
Yeah.
So
Something was pulling you.
something was pulling me, and I went to the Aurelia, but on the morning of I put the, you know, I just, what's the word I'm looking for? I sabotaged it.
Yeah.
You know,
So you showed up to the other treatment center.
yeah, and I had to pee clean, and I didn't because I had, you know, half a Mickey before I'd gone up there.
So the
that
alcohol
morning.
showed up. Yeah.
And they refused me.
Yeah.
So I went back, I went home, I had guilt and shame and the disappointment when my son and my wife were dropping me off in Aurelia to go to this place.
Yeah.
It was a pretty quiet ride.
100%. Yeah.
And so I went home, and my wife had given me an ultimatum and said, look, if you don't find something in a week or so, like, you can't be here, you got to figure something out, right?
Right.
You know, I don't want this to be a part of my life, and rightly so.
Right. Yeah.
At that time, I you know, it was all about me.
Well,
So
you think about what you're communicating to your family at that
Yeah,
time.
absolutely.
Right? If we're talking about communication, it's like you're really blatantly saying, "Oh, I want help. I need help. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, thank you, thank you." And then you got a bottle hidden.
That's right.
Right. So it's mostly fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. I don't really care what you're saying. I'm only doing this to appease you.
That's what the first time at Brentwood was about. It was they had asked me, so I did it for them,
Yeah.
not for me.
Right.
And I had a pretty good program
Yeah.
going
Yeah.
here until the last day before graduation. I had my vehicle here, so I was being asked to drive guys around.
Right.
And I took some guys. I took a gentleman to his appointment, and then I happened to just look in the side mirror of my SUV, and I saw the sign, an LCBO sign.
Yeah.
And then it just clicked, right? So I thought, well, he's in there. It's a doctor's appointment, so he'll be there a while. I'm gonna duck over, grab a Mickey. It was all fear,
Yeah.
Matt. It was all fear.
Yeah.
Because tomorrow, this
Day is happening.
It's ending, and then what comes after that?
Right. Right. Yeah.
And I drank.
Yeah.
And I got back. I went right to my room. And then
So basically, you drank and drove.
yeah.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
And I just not thinking like, oh, they're going to look for me on the Friday to set up for the graduation day. I'm just going to go to my room.
Right.
And then, so that night I had to leave because I didn't get honest about it either.
Yep.
And so I left an alumni member, well-respected guy said, come to my apartment. You can stay on my couch tonight.
Who was it, if you don't mind me asking?
Tony.
Okay. Yeah, I know Tony, yeah.
And I love him for this because I really, at that point, really felt fellowship.
Right. Because no matter what mistake you made, somebody still loved you.
And there was no judgment.
Tony's a great guy.
Yeah. And so I was able to sober up on his couch. The next morning, I had left. I came back and I went home. Within about a week, I started drinking again.
Yeah.
I had left. I went to a hotel to just bury my
sorrows,
disappointment, and my shame. Really,
wallow in the sorrow.
That's right. Because I disappointed people and really thought, it was, looking back on it, just a big FU to everybody that actually invested in me.
That's right, and that's what you're communicating. Right.
Yeah. And so during that time, my wife and I had separated. I stayed with some family that wanted to support me. They didn't want me on the street because really I had nowhere else to go.
Right.
I had money, but it would have been a hotel thing. And so, while staying with in-laws to my wife's brother, it was just a mess. I was just drinking and hiding it all the time. My wife had come to me and said she wanted a divorce.
So everything's just folding in.
Yeah, it's just everything's coming to a head.
How'd your son feel at this point?
He was living with his mom again, but he supported me. He was always there with me. He was the one person that didn't really give up on me.
Yep.
And despite what I put him through.
Right.
And to this day, I want to cry every time I talk about the hurt that he must have been carrying.
Yeah.
His hero, or the guy that he
looks up to, or is learning. Yeah,
and who's always been there for him. His cushion is getting thinner as well too, right?
Right.
So all the fear he must have had that I put in him. So I had left. We sold the house. I had gotten some money. I rented a stupidly expensive condo.
Yeah.
Just drank on my own.
What year was it that you graduated the first time, or were supposed to?
22.
Okay.
Yeah. And then in 23 is when I really went off the deep end. It was terrible. And I wanted to die.
Yeah.
It was
drinking for that purpose.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%.
It turned into 60 to 80 ounces of straight vodka.
That's what I was just about to ask you. How much were you drinking on any given occasion?
60 to 80 ounces every single day.
So a couple 40s.
Of straight vodka,
Yeah.
And
that's the type of shit where you wake up on the couch and you're grabbing the bottle before you even sit up.
Yeah, I slept with a bottle above my pillow.
I get it. Yeah.
And to be completely honest, I couldn't even walk anymore. Even when I needed to drink to function,
right,
just to get to the kitchen.
Yeah.
My body's covered in bruises.
Shaking from falling down and
fractured vertebrae, everything. I ended up in the hospital.
Just being blackout, eh?
Yeah, this went on for about a year and a half, and so finally in 24 March of 24, I ended up in the hospital, and I was in really bad shape.
Yeah.
The doctors had given me 50% chance of survival in the next 48 hours.
Just cirrhosis of the liver?
No, it's a miracle.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't, and I can get into that. So he said, and I'm going to send the chaplain up. So I had a chaplain, a reverend, come up and want to pray with me and ask me who do I want to notify, and I said nobody. Because I was trying to take my own life. I didn't want to live anymore.
And bringing somebody into that, yeah.
Yeah, and I was really struggling with the loss of my marriage and the disappointment and everything that I had.
Yeah.
People were still trying to support me.
Who would have thought, pausing there, and then looking at right now, right? The feeling you had as a human being sitting in that moment like there's no hope for nothing, because I had it. I jumped right into traffic. I split my head open. The car ran me over. Poor lady's driving to a old age home, and I'm running from the hospital with a broken leg in 4 places and 2 broken collarbones. Over the helipad, down the hill, out to the highway, right? First car that came by, I jumped in front of.
Wow.
Because I'm thinking in my head, right? And this is just, I'm on bail, waiting to figure out my life, right?
Yeah.
And then I found Brentwood 9 months later, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
But I would never have been able to make a decision in that moment to not have done what I've done, feeling the shame and the guilt and all the built up feelings and emotions, right? I wanted to die.
Yeah.
And I have no idea why. There was no foresight, right? There's no I guess like an inkling of hope into the future, right? To say like, I have no idea what doors are going to open. I have no idea what opportunities are going to be coming my way, what type of man I can become or who I may be, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, how as human beings do we not have this, I'll get through this thought, you know? And I wish it was there, but it is a testimony that you've made it through. I've made it through.
I couldn't see it, Matt.
Yeah.
I really wanted to die. My son was getting older. I felt the need for his dad was diminishing.
Yeah.
He was in had his own girlfriend.
And it's so loud and profound right up here.
Yeah.
It's like the thoughts can swirl.
Yeah.
Like, and we start to believe our own shit.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we didn't, like you said, you didn't want anybody around.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, yeah, you don't even know how he feels.
No.
Type of thing.
Absolutely.
Like the same thing with me and my kids. Like I wasn't even present to be able to ask.
Yeah.
Right? But in my mind, it was they're better off without me.
Well, the moment for me, the change was in the hospital.
Yeah.
I had 48 hours to live is what I'm thinking, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I really, that's when spirituality really came to me, because I thought, like a desperate scoundrel, I'm going to pray to God now, and I'm going to ask, and I did.
When we need him.
Yeah, and I did, and I said, I apologize for saying I'm sorry I haven't been praying. I didn't even have any value in myself that I was worth the prayers and the help, because others need it more than I do. And
100%.
that's a true thing.
Yeah.
And then I said, God, if you could please help me with this, you can do whatever you want with the rest of my life.
Yep.
And somehow I survived.
Right.
And I then called Brentwood from the hospital.
Yeah.
And I had said,
it's time.
Yeah, well, Dave. So I called Dave Richardson, and he was my group leader, and twice. And I said, Dave, I really need to come home, and because I had no home, I had nowhere to go. I mean, I could have. It would have just gone right back to the same, maybe. Yeah. Who knows? But they got me in here, and I thought, okay, now I get it. Now the topics they mean something, and I don't know why it took nearly dying for me to. And I'll tell you, I think I just nailed it. I sat there in the hospital bed, and this is, I had nooses, everything that I had tied, that I was
ready to go.
I couldn't have my son find me that way, because he's the one that's going to walk in and find. I couldn't do it, so the drinking was the answer. Fall asleep and then never wake up, right?
Right.
But I did. I did come. Once I got here, I really. It really made me pay attention. Like guys here that we both know, they're younger guys than me, who drank less than me. Yeah. They had died.
Right. Or something trivial to that matter.
Yeah.
Right.
And I thought, oh my goodness, so there has to be a purpose, because for me, and there is a God. Yeah. There's no feeling coming to Brentwood like there is when those front wheels hit that curb out in front off of Duke.
Oh, 100%. You automatically get this uplifted feeling like I don't know why I ran for so long, and I'm home, and a feeling of comfort. Yeah. And it's like, in advance coming up the driveway, I'm going to be safe here.
Yeah. Right? I mean, and from then I really understood that you don't choose Brentwood chooses you in some spiritual way.
Yeah, right. We did ask for help, but they're going to provide that for you. They're pulling you in.
Absolutely.
Everybody finds their what's it called? I guess divine intervention to land themselves here.
Yeah.
It's like there is some sort of magnet pull. Like once you're in the program, there is a purpose moving forward.
Well, I had the willingness.
Yeah.
I came in here with the mindset of a newborn baby.
Yeah.
That how I'm living doesn't work.
Right.
My thought process needs help.
Right.
Please, like a kid with crayons in his hand on the first day of kindergarten, show me how to. I'm ready, teacher.
Yeah.
Please show me how to do this because,
right.
And so I had the willingness to do that now, right?
Right.
Because there was no recourse.
No, and that's the thing too. Being an intelligent person, coming into any program, we think we know it, or we're going to critique it to fit us.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to use this tool, but not that one. Or I'm going to do what you say over here because I'm interested, but the things I'm not interested in, like humility, right, and being broken down, I'll reject it. I'll buck it.
Yeah.
So being able to get anything the first time was very rare in my life. I always have to fuck things up and then learn from it and maybe take it more serious. So, the path that you're on was for a reason regardless. You have to struggle in order to recover.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, it might have taken everything from you to a point where besides death, right? Right on the brink of dying.
Yeah.
For you to realize that.
Yeah. I mean, you come in here with no self-worth, but that was the first time when I pulled in here that I got that glimmer of hope.
Right.
That I felt safe. Probably the first time in a long time. That I felt safe, and all I had to do was trust.
Yeah. Isn't that, they say, okay, you only have to do one thing, and you're only have to change one thing. So you have to do anything and change everything, right?
Yeah.
And all that comes with trust. Because how do I change everything about the way I'm living or the choices I'm making or the way my mind works? How do I start sharing and confiding and getting into other people and hearing what they have to say to have some feelings for their sympathy or compassion for their situation? How?
Yeah.
When naturally you come in here a bit of a hard shell, not giving a, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know, you said it yourself, the willingness, that glimmer of hope. Like desperation for wanting to live started that for me.
And what did that was I thought about my son, and I thought one day he's going to be a father, and they're going to ask about grandpa. Right. And I thought about that pain, that surge of anxiety that's going to rush through his heart every time my name comes up.
Yeah.
And that and that negative thought that he's going to have.
Or what are the words that are going to come out of his mouth about me?
Well, my son would tough that out and say, oh, he's a good guy and maybe had issues.
Instead of was, now it's an is.
But I know my son very well, and I know the pain that would ripple right through him.
100%.
And I had to give him a chance to not have his life be that way.
Right.
And so that was where I found my strength to really
keep going.
Yeah. And then the guys here, like I came here, and all of a sudden, nobody cared about my past. Nobody
judged you.
They were just happy that I was here, man. And
that's the beauty in it too. I mean that, like being able to come to a place where you have brothers that, man, I have more friends now in my life through recovery than I've ever had in my life. Thinking I was somebody, or believing in some, persona of what I thought I was, right?
Yeah.
Living negatively, making money negatively, doing things in a different way. For us, that's different circumstances, the same emotions. You know what I mean? I felt the same lost, destitute for hopelessness as you felt. In fact, we've had many similarities in your story that I could relate to, right? The hospital, the nooses, the wanting to end it, the whole path. But yet I was selling drugs and running the streets and being of no service where you had a career.
Yeah.
Or you're a working man, so to speak, right? I think that when you finally hit that bottom for anybody where you have that desperation to live, or that thought of, you know, what's he gonna say about me if I do this or if I'm gone? You know, holding on to that last strand of, I think that in a sense is a spiritual intervention, because something's given you this feeling, right? You have all these thoughts, I don't want to live. None of this is, they're better off without me. Should just end it, whatever. I'm going to drink myself to death, or whatever, right? For me, it was jump in front of the first moving vehicle. I'm hearing the thoughts loud and profound. The kids are better off without me, right? And finally, it came to a point where it's like, whatever came inside of me, like it did for you, having that inkling of hope. For you, it's your son. For me, it was a desperation to live. You know, like, if I could die for my kids, well, why can't I live for them? Right? Yeah. So, or anybody for that matter, brothers, sisters, cousins, nephews, whatever. You know, there's people out there that love you.
Oh yeah, I can't see myself leaving Windsor now, and I'm from the Toronto area, Mississauga, and but this is where home is. This is where family is, you know, large in part, and it's, you know, this is where I'm accepted.
It's amazing. Thousands of people, right, through fellowship here. Let's go to a program for a minute. When you entered this rehab, say even the first or second time, like you said, the topics started hitting you more the second go around. They started to have more meaning. You could have insight into them and kind of dive in a bit deeper. But if you had to pick a topic or a situation through one-on-ones or in group or inventories or whatever part of your program that you really felt, you know, connected with you most, what would it be?
I had two, and it was willingness, and then it was meaning and purpose.
That's really funny, because we're talking about abiding and willingness and discipline and communication, and all of these topics, they coincide and interlock with each other. They're all the same type of action type of base topic, right? Anybody can talk around the meaning of the word, but what are we doing as a human being in order to better our family's emotional state, mental state, physical state? Because that's ultimately what we're giving them, is the gift of us again, right?
Right. And you know what? Even the gift of your fellowship, or giving back to them. Because, because when meaning and purpose hit me, and it was probably my fifth or sixth topic that, at least that we had here, the second go around was, I realized that I never want, and understanding that I knew there was a purpose for me. Why did I live? Why did I survive? Right. Because it didn't make any sense. Here's a guy in his 50s, kids in their 40s, 30s, and 40s who did less than I did are dying. Right. Which was painful to hear about, because I cared about a lot of those guys that I knew from the first program. Right. And it hit me, and I realized that there is something for me to do. Now, I can be pretty successful in my old career. I still can. But my meaning and purpose ended up being that I don't want anybody to feel the way I did. Right. So if you can be of any inspiration. Absolutely. And so I gave up the career in transportation. I just gave it up. My heart wasn't in it. And I went back to school. I went back. I actually got hired here by Ford. Was there for 6 months and then quit. And because I thought, I want to go to school and I want to become a group leader, a counselor, you know, an addictions counselor. So, so I did that, and I fast tracked it. You know, you pay this big amount of money to fast track it in a year, which I was probably spending about 50 to 60 hours a week on schooling. So I essentially did a 2 or 3 year college course in 1 year. Right. While working here too, because and volunteering, because I had the opportunity to, you know, this was my mecca, right? This is and I had to give back in some way. And so it's all about, you know, giving back now for me. 100%. You know, it's. When can you have said this in active addiction? Like, I'm going to show up, I'm going to be reliable, dependable, honorable, and I'm going to give back. You know what? For the first time in my life now, like in the last year, since I became kind of a regular face at Brentwood now for the good, for the helpful reasons.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't imagine life any other way. I've never been happier.
Okay, so we have some friends that are like some mutual friends that are like pretty close, like Catherine and Kelly. So I'm talking with Kelly yesterday. I think Catherine might have been there too. And I was sitting there and I'm like, I honestly can't look back and say that has, like, she even asked me, like, could you imagine yourself, making a quick dollar or doing something that you used to do if the opportunity presented itself, and it's just a one and done thing, and it's not even a thought in my mind. I would rather be able to show up and put in some work doing something positive, whether it's volunteering or hanging out with the guys and like doing something productive and showing up to be that responsible individual because of the feeling I get.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with the value amount in gold, feathers, you know what I mean? The weight in sand or silk. Like, it doesn't matter what the commodity is.
Yeah.
It's the feeling that I get.
Well, growing up, underprivileged the way that I had, I thought money was the answer. I thought career success and the gold mountain.
Stature.
Absolutely. And I had all of that. I achieved all of that stuff.
Right. And still feeling empty.
But I still had the holes in me. It didn't fill the holes.
And it's like, okay, so without any knowledge or idea of what the help is or how to get it or what it's going to feel like after we've received it, right? Or the benefits of a fulfilling life. And I think that's where the word of God is, or spirituality, right, in a sense, is supposed to kind of guide us into that humility in life.
Yeah.
Where a lot of that is taken out of schools, it's taken out of the culture in life, right? And finding it still exists somehow.
Yeah.
Finding our higher power or something that is greater than me in order to believe in something, because not everybody has to believe in God or anything like that. For me, it's Christ, but for anybody else, it doesn't matter, right? I begged in psychosis, complete voices in my mind of gangsters and murderers that were profoundly in my life for many years were talking to me in the jail and in the hospital. The people were raping my family and beating them and torturing them in other rooms, and I could hear this.
Yeah.
Right? Part of me knew I was nuts, but I couldn't help but believe it. Something's going on here, and I don't know what it is, but I'm going to figure it out. And I'm strapped to a table or to the bed and all that, right?
Yeah.
Complete, what's it called when they're about to form you, in a sense, right?
Yeah.
Like for me, I'm going to jail, so they can't put me in the mental institution, but I'm on a 72-hour watch time and time and time again, right? Because I'm absolutely nuts. When I begged Christ, like legitimately, please, just let me have my mind back. Okay? I'll do anything. Please, just let me think again. Stop this nonsense. Like, get the voices out of my head. I just want to be me again. I'll never do drugs. Okay? I was still a liar, bro. I still ended up relapsing a couple years after that. This was about 2.5 or so years ago.
Yeah.
Right? Now I got straight clean time. But it's like I have these thoughts in my mind, and they'll vanquish. They'll disappear. So that spiritual concept is a daily practice. It has to be held on to. It's something that I have to wake up in the morning. I have to believe in the commitment I'm making. Let my knees touch the ground. Ask God for help. I'm an alcoholic. Yeah, you know what, buddy? I do need some help today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm going to need this. Because left to my own thinking, my own devices, who the fuck am I?
Yeah.
I'm the guy that quickly forgets that I begged Christ or begged my higher power
That's right.
for my brain back and find drugs at a gas station. No one's going to know.
Yeah.
And I'll smoke it. Right. So if the thoughts in my head quickly when I bump into the LCBO sign in the rearview mirror are so quick to pull a Yui while the guy's at the appointment, right?
Yeah.
So wait a minute. We're forgetting all the help that we asked for. We're forgetting all that begging, all that I need life again.
Well, that's where the connection came in for me, because I was able to find the second time in program was, I don't know, I just it was the answer for me this time.
Yeah.
And when I didn't feel like doing something, it was the magic 4 words. I do it anyways.
So let me ask you this. As you're driving down the road, you ever bump into that LCBO in the mirror again, you already know from your mistakes.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with me. I have to fuck it up once or twice before I can take anything serious. And now that I've made a mess in every single way trying to do it by myself, with myself, and for myself, I realize that's not the answer.
Yeah.
So how quick are you to recognize those old habits coming back and going, whoa?
You know what? I like who I am today.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even notice LCBOs anymore on the street.
Right.
I remember how it was, and that I really feel like I have a debt to spiritually.
So do you recognize those emotions already, to have practice getting through them to the point where the triggers no longer exist?
Yeah, I don't.
Right.
So yeah, exactly, and that's it. Like I never. I think the one time it happened in the last year and a half,
Mm-hmm.
which was funny, is because it was spring, and it was the first time grass was cut.
You know what's funny is the same thing for me. Every time the weather starts getting warm, and somewhere in my mind, I believe it's like adventure time.
Yeah, it was the smell of fresh cut grass.
Yeah.
And then, okay, now it's time to have a drink.
Right.
And so and I was like,
Whoa.
blown away by that feeling.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, so that's what this is.
So I was talking to a friend of ours, and I'm not really going to mention it, but getting blood work done, right? And having this rush of, like, as being a user of intravenous, right?
Yeah.
They said to me, like, I get it now, because it's only blood work. You're not getting high. Like, you're at the hospital, you're getting blood work, right? And having that, needle be around, and then just overwhelming feeling of like, oh my God, I feel like I'm having this like moment where I'm actually feeling the rush of being high.
Yeah.
And it's the addiction to the penetration of the needle and all that anxiety and emotions that come with it, in a sense, right? Like, I could never fully speak on how they felt, but I just was like, wow, it's a real thing.
Yeah.
Because I can have a scent in the air, instantly think of crack cocaine. Yeah. I can have a scent in the air and instantly be in the fentanyl stage. I can have a feeling of walking my dog on the beach and going, you know what, Ryan Coke would be fucking amazing right now. And being able to taste that alcohol. And it's happened over time.
Yeah.
But through practice, like I was saying, and like you were just testifying to, is that when we bump into these things and make that poor judgment call, then learn how to be accepted with other people, the welcoming of coming back, feeling like, okay, you know what, this is a calling for me. Yeah. I'm not going to work at Ford's. No. I'm going to take a step back, and I'm going to get meaning and purpose and fulfillment spiritually through helping other people and being that inspiration.
100%.
Yeah. Bro, I don't need $50 an hour.
No.
You know what? I need 50 recovering addicts in my life.
You know what? I managed to eat.
Yeah.
I managed to just be able to pay my rent, and because I'm still rising in this industry, right? I'm relatively new at it, so
when they go back to the shelters provided, the bills are covered, there's food on the table.
God provides.
Right?
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's just like, for me, it's real, and now my purpose is to really help people see the impossible, what seems impossible, in themselves. You know what the crazy thing is that as we're being shown from other people, how hard it was to accept a compliment, right? I could never believe in somebody, you're a good-looking guy, or you're really good at this, or, thank you for the help with that, or blah, 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 blah. Whatever it was, uplifting, because I had no belief in myself. Yeah. It's easy to give somebody else a compliment. Yeah. Like, buddy, you're doing really well, because I believe that you are. Yeah. But I have no self-worth at the beginning of coming into rehab or any sort of treatment program. So to be able to build that up over time, it took way longer than the 30 or 90-day program. It was like a year, 2 into it, make another mistake, like I said, the relapse, having faltered steps, hiccups along the way. Yeah.
for me to be able to say, you know what, I'm not doing that same thing I did in order to feel like shit again. I like feeling good.
Yeah.
I enjoy my life as it is, and I can be quick to complain. I'm not making enough money. I can get right back in that mindset that all I do is work and I barely pay the bills and I don't have much going on for me, and when do I get to travel, or how come I can't buy myself a new pair of shoes, and wah, 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 wah. The violin starts playing the world's smallest little instrument playing the loudest tune, right? And then I got to look around. I get to walk my dog. My cat loves me. The bills are paid. I'm helping a couple guys in recovery that are renting rooms off me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I get friendships like this and conversations like this where people actually value coming on a show with a guy like me.
Yeah.
And what the fuck are we talking about?
Yeah.
If there's no appreciation in that, and all I really want to say is, I don't really get to do much in my day.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Right? So there's always a flip side to the coin. But the most intrusive, impulsive ways of thinking are mostly negative for alcoholic addicts like us.
Yeah.
Too loud and profound. So it does take fellowship and other people in our lives.
I couldn't do this without the guys on the
No.
program, with the alumni, with
Right.
yourself.
So I'm going to give you a little inkling to boost your spirits, and hopefully, your ego inflates and deflates right away, because we would hate to stay, inflated. But I'm walking over and a guy goes, "Oh, you're doing an episode of the podcast today." He's like, "When can I come on?" I'm like, "Give it a year, right? You make it to a year, you can come on, right?" And he goes, "Oh, who's your guest?" I go, "Sean Orswell." He said, "That's going to be a good one." He goes, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So whatever you're doing is working in life. You know what I mean? Because the people believe, like right there, that's a compliment.
Well, for me, humility sets you free, right?
Yeah.
I am just one of these guys on program. I am you.
Yep.
And we are one.
That's why I was saying the circumstances may be different, but the feelings are all the same.
Yeah.
You lived a blue collar, go to work every day in a career life.
Yeah.
And I was, brought from a family just the same, but lived in the streets and wanted to go to jail. Well, didn't want to go to jail, but did things that inevitably led me there and wanted to do those things. But the feelings of inadequacy or loneliness or separation from family or whatever it was we were going through, they're all the same. So we are one. Yeah.
I can't imagine my life without another alcoholic
Right.
in my life.
Right.
I need that now.
Right.
And a group leader, Keith, had said that to me, that's how he became successful. And what he does is that he needs an alcoholic in his life.
Right.
And that helps him cope.
Right.
I just recently watched your podcast a few months ago with Paul Christolovich.
Okay.
And
That's my boy.
yeah, and he, I knew I was doing okay when I saw that podcast, because I did unknowingly.
Mm-hmm.
Paul talked about, coming out of program and then just wanting to help, working the duty desk, working doing those things around here, whatever they needed, whatever, just have that willingness. And I went, oh my God, I've done that exact same thing and I didn't even know.
And things are working out.
Yeah. And it's like this place puts you on that path and you don't even know it.
So so now that you're talking about not even knowing it, the cluelessness. Okay, so when I talk to guys that are, I don't know what I'm going to do, I don't know what I'm going to do for work, and I don't know how I'm going to handle the feelings of this situation, it's okay. I'm like, you have some interest. Your inquiry is wide open.
Yeah.
Your mind is asking these questions because you're wondering what it's going to be like and how the outcome's going to be. But if you take away the why and you just show up, I'm like, do that. I'm like, you don't need to know the answer. If you keep showing up to a positive place, which Brentwood allows you to do. Brentwood Recovery Home, after you graduate, you get to just come back and be an inspiration to others and help out. Joining a social committee or the different committees that they have for inclusivity and diversity and all the other things, alumni engagement and whatever they got going on around here, right? You get to be a part of. You can volunteer to do many things, working a duty desk, answering a phone, and just taking messages and helping the guys out on program. What would we do if that guy didn't show up for 24 hours? It's not us that suffer as graduates. It's the people on program that are trying to learn to ask for the phone or ask to go to their room, or is it okay if I do this or that or the other thing?
Absolutely.
If that guy's not at the desk,
Yeah.
what are we doing? And if it's a paid worker, It's not the same as somebody wanting to be there in order to give something back. Do you know what I'm saying?
I know, 100%.
So it all has a purpose and a meaning behind it for these people to just keep showing up. And eventually, like you said, you can look back in hindsight. You'll never be able to see it in the forefront. Like, I'm not going to be able to tell you in 6 months I'm going to feel way better as a human being. But I do have proof and testimony in the past time that if I just keep showing up, I know my life is going to stay the same or get better.
Yeah.
I don't know how the fuck better. I don't know how the fuck it's going to work itself out, but it just naturally does.
Yeah.
Take 2 negative people, put them in a positive place, and what do we become? Positive.
Right.
Yeah. It's like math.
Yeah, it's I can't say enough to the guys on program. It's just trust.
Yeah.
You know,
Blindly.
Yes.
That's what. Okay. So your higher power, and that's where that comes for a fact into life.
Yeah.
You know, if I can trust. Well, how does they say that God works? Is in and through another human being.
100%.
So if I can trust you to be able to be there for me, or just maybe not even be there for me, just to hear me out, right? This is what I'm going through today.
Yeah.
Naturally, I'm putting that into you, and something is working beyond our physical realm for mine and your life, because we're trusting each other and having a good conversation. And that's the truth of it. I had a guy call me that you're saying that you talked or felt something after watching Paul talk on the podcast. I had a guy, he's in the union, well, I think it's 195, and his dad's like, I'm the higher up in that union, right? And he called me after me and Rick Pilon's episode, and he goes, I realized that he's like, I might not make it back to Brentwood, but I'm getting help again. You know, after watching that episode, he said, because man, he's like, I just, something hit me after watching that. That's the purpose, right there. I don't need nothing else. If I'm helping one guy, right, that's it. If you're helping one guy, that's it.
Yeah.
Right? That's all you need in life, is just to be able to reach somebody and hopefully you put them on a better course.
Well, and that's it. I mean, I don't know where this path takes me in terms of helping others. All I know is that I'm going to spend the rest of my life doing whatever I can to help somebody see the promise that sobriety brings.
Oh, 100%.
And because that's when the magic happens, when you begin to believe.
Right.
And so I feel like my purpose now is to try and, you know, plug them into this joy, this happiness. Because you want to be truly rich.
Right.
Find peace in your life. And this environment gives me so much peace now. I know I'm going to be okay.
Yep.
Now, what can I do
to help somebody else?
Yeah, to give that back for the peace that it's given me.
Right. Proof in the pudding, they say.
100, yeah. I mean,
you know what? It's pretty funny and ironic. We're at about, I think it's a 62-minute mark, and something just popped in my head. You went from 60 ounces to 60 minutes. You know what I mean? And hopefully this message will reach somebody. You know, hopefully this conversation, somebody along the way will watch and find something out of it. And maybe if you're struggling out there and reach for help, or if you're already doing well and you like what you hear, and it'll help your day get better or stay on track, because that's all we really want, right?
Absolutely.
So if there's anything, we're gonna close it up. But if there's anything that you have a dire need to share, now's the time. Or if not, we can go to anything you want to tell somebody out there that's still struggling.
Yeah, you're worth it. You are worth it. You are loved. And things can change. Just talk about it. Fear is real.
Yeah.
I struggle with fear every day, with asking for help, and that's okay, and people work through it still with me to this day.
Another one on that, based on the fears, how many tried attempts where I felt like I let people down that are willing to help me? But you know what I realized after I ditched on detox, or I said I would get sober and didn't, and let my parents down, or lied in order to go a couple days without drinking or drugging, and then went right back to it. And then I'd feel these feelings like, oh, I just keep making promises and fuck it, this is what I'm destined to be. And No, man. I don't care if you let somebody down 100 times, because that 101st, when you finally become a man of your word or a woman of your word, and you do change your life, that's the path you needed to go down. But don't ever give up. Stop asking for help.
No.
Keep asking. Keep reaching.
You can fall off the horse 20 times and you get up. I mean, we have a group leader that's been through it how many times? Right?
45 intakes.
45 intakes. And,
Right.
And now he's giving people their lives back.
That's just it, right? So don't ever feel like you're an abandoned failure or
Yeah.
lost cause.
Absolutely.
I like that message. I do, because that's what it made me think of when you were just saying that. Honestly, I want to thank you all for watching. Please click the subscribe button, share, like, follow, do whatever. The message for anybody could save a life, and I appreciate you joining us. Thank you, Sean. Again, it's been a pleasure, my friend.